From calling 2023 the year of the daddy of the internet, to obsessing over the release of this super cool cowboy flick, let's talk about everything I know about Pedro Pascal's all-new Strange Way of Life. But before that, I gotta admit, it's Pedro Pascal's year for sure. The guy's literally in everything, and fans agree. While reacting to the film's totally campy and very short trailer, fans were quick to say that 2023 seems to be working pretty well for the actor. First, he wooed everyone with his Joe Miller attitude, then he gave us a super solid Mandalorian season. And now that Strange Way of Life's trailer has dropped, he's the topic of obsession all over again. And if you've seen the trailer yourself, you'll know why. Just imagine your favorite zombie conqueror in Midwestern cowboy garb alongside everyone's all-time favorite, Ethan Hawke. I mean, just their pairing is steamy enough to make grown men cry. But wait till you learn about Strange Way of Life, and you'll turn into a Western genre geek for sure. Now, I know by the looks of it, this movie seems like a dead ringer for Brokeback Mountain. But Pedro Almodovar, who's the brains behind this movie, has clarified that it's going to be different from that. Of course, the story itself will revolve around the love between two men. It's already looking like a pretty masculine film. And if the trailer's to be believed, the story will be all about how these two men with such macho energy around them navigate the feelings they have for each other. Almodovar has also commented that even though the trailer features a lot of male energy, don't classify it just yet, because according to him, he's totally going to change the Western genre with this one. But how? I mean, everything else aside, the duration of the film definitely doesn't seem long enough to send an impactful message. Or does it? Let me just clarify that Strange Way of Life is only going to be 30 minutes long. Yep, that's it. Now you get what I mean. So what does Pedro, the filmmaker, not the actor, plan to accomplish with a movie this short? Well, as per him, the dialogue and characters in this movie will be enough to make it different from your usual cowboy flicks. And plus, you gotta admit, he's got a pretty stellar cast featured in the movie, so it shouldn't be too hard to accomplish that, right? First, of course, there's the topic of our discussion, Pedro Pascal. Then we have the man, the myth, the legend, Ethan Hawke. Other than that, the film will also feature Pedro Casablanca, which means the film will feature 3 Pedros for the price of 1. There's also Manu Rios, Jose Condesa, George Steen, the gorgeous Spanish actress, Sarah Salamo, Jason Fernandez, Ohiana Cueto, and Daniela Medina. Like I said, a stellar cast. But hey, let's not get sidetracked by the film here. I'm here to talk about Pedro today, the actor, not the filmmaker. Now, considering how the trailer features him with such a solid group of actors, why's all the fan reaction only mostly geared towards him? Well, for one, it's Pedro's zaddy mindset. If you guys don't know, in a recent interview for The Last of Us, he was called a daddy by the interviewer. He then corrected her, saying that considering how old he is, he's better off being called a zaddy instead. And, well, in this trailer, we see him in full zaddy mode, complete with a Western accent, that wonderful green jacket, and of course his acting, which has driven fans crazy at this point. Don't take my word for it, just head over to Reddit and Twitter. Some fans are out there making a whole lot of noise for the film, while others are claiming that seeing Pedro in this movie will absolutely ruin their life. Let's just say, fans are ready to be hurt by this beautiful man whose yearning in this dialogue has clearly struck a chord among his lovers. Plus, let's not forget, his chemistry with Hawke is palpable. You guys didn't miss this scene, did you? It had me wide-eyed and ready to scream as soon as I saw it. And I'm what they call a cool fan, who'll share a meme or two only if it's considered cool enough. Imagine the kind of havoc it's wreaked among the obsessive fans of these actors. People are also loving the whole aesthetic of the film and wishing it was longer than 30 minutes, which makes sense. Who wouldn't want to watch these two totally hot and talented actors having a Midwestern cowboy affair? Fans are even saying that they'll go so far as to pretend that they don't care about this angsty cowboy flick just so it can get released sooner, which is a pretty solid strategy, I must say. But guys, unfortunately, we will have to wait before this campy, steamy Pascal Hawke flick hits our screens. But you don't have to worry. Remember how I said 2023 is the year of Pascal? Well, it's 100% true. The question is, though, how does Pedro have the time to even work on all these projects? Ever since the release of this trailer, fans have been asking this question a lot, and they're not wrong. These are some pretty high-profile projects, and even if this movie is 30 minutes long, It's a Cannes Film Festival feature, which already makes it a big deal. So, what is it? Is Pedro a superhero in real life who called himself Zaddy and makes us all feel good with his amazing acting? Or is he just the most hardworking actor out there, giving it his all to make sure no one's left behind without their personal favorite Pascal project in their heart? As much as I'd like it to be the former, it's definitely the latter, which makes me respect this dude even more. No wonder fans are going crazy over him in this new film. And now that we've talked about how he's doing it, let's talk about more Pedro content that can be watched while you wait for this mini movie to come out, no pun intended. Now, before I talk about his other projects, let's find out why he's suddenly the face of the year. A year ago in mainstream media, he was known as Oberyn Martell from his short stint in Game of Thrones. Not that he wasn't great even then. I mean, I remember that he used to own every scene he was in. Plus, his support for Tyrion Lannister only made him hotter. But that's it, isn't it? After years of being on the back bench, Pedro has finally been discovered as the charismatic, talented, and totally amazing actor that he is. So if the world's just discovering him, let's just say they've missed out on a lot of his prime projects. But hey, whoever hasn't been convinced by his acting chops yet, I bet the fanfare around Strange Way of Life will do it for them. And with that said, let's check out some other projects that Pascal's working on. First off, there's the true crime miniseries, My Dentist's Murder Trial, where Pedro will be starring against none other than David Harbour, who's another zaddy of the modern age, if you think about it. The show is potentially set to release on HBO and is based on a 2017 New Yorker article from a journalist who wrote it about his dentist. Interesting, right? Pedro will apparently be playing Dr. Gilberto Nunez, the dentist in question. David's role and the show's release date haven't been confirmed yet. There's also Drive Away Dolls, a comedy where he'll be starring alongside Matt Damon. There's also Freaky Tales, The Uninvited, and Tropico. And of course, not to forget, The Last of Us Season 2. We already know that the show's continuing, and if the news is to be believed, it'll be closely following the events of the game itself. Pedro himself has commented that it won't make sense to stay true to the game just to steer away from it in the next season. So, for anyone who knows what happens in the second game, well, in the words of Bella Ramsey, I bet you have no idea how to prepare for the emotions the second season will bring. According to Neil Druckmann, Season 2 production is already underway, so even when you're done watching Strange Way of Life and are wondering if you should go back and binge-watch The Last of Us again, do it, because you'll need to refresh your memory before Season 2 anyway. And speaking of Strange Way of Life, let's also check out when exactly it is releasing. As I told you earlier, the film's a 2023 Cannes feature, so it's obviously set to release in the summer. But will we all get to see it after? Well, I have good news in that department, because according to reports, Sony Pictures Classics has apparently acquired worldwide rights to the movie, which means that after it's released at Cannes, and the attendees have stopped giving it a standing ovation, Sony will be releasing it for us. When, though, is a question that only the higher-ups in the studio, and maybe all three Pedros associated with the film, will be able to answer. So there you go, from the release of this obviously classic cowboy flick to obsessing over Pedro Pascal's year of success. Everything you needed to know about fans going crazy over his upcoming new film.